Hey guys, this is Agi, that's AWGI with drums Bonedo, and right behind me is the Roland VAD516. And there's big news. Roland decided to bring the full sound library and the deep editing functions of their flagship kits to the smaller V51 and even V31 modules. So the gap between mid-range and high-end has just become way smaller. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the VAD516 and we'll even make a quick sound comparison with the flagship module. So stay tuned. The Roland VAD516 is the biggest model in the new 5 Series lineup, and at around 5,400 euros here in Germany, it's anything but cheap, but still considerably more affordable than the VAD716 flagship, which will set you back roughly 9,000 euros. Now, VAD stands for V-Drums Acoustic Design, so the kit is equipped with real wooden shells and looks just like an acoustic drum set. The pad configuration is pretty close to the 716 with only a few differences. The kick is 20 inches instead of 22 inches, there's only one 14-inch floor tom instead of two, and one of the crashes is a 14-inch pad, while the VAD716 uses two 16-inch crashes. Other than that, all pads of the VAD516 are the same models found on the flagship kit, including the digital pads for snare, hi-hat, and ride. Now the snare is the new model which was introduced with the 7 Series, and just like its predecessor, it automatically detects whether you're playing side sticks or rim shots, and it also offers positional sensing that actually works. The main addition in the new version is the throw-off, which consists of a lever and a tension knob. And just like on any acoustic snare, you can use these to control the tension of the wires. The virtual wires, of course. But you can also assign other functions. For example, you can use the tension knob to change the tuning, or by pushing it, you can tap the tempo of the metronome or start and stop playback on a phone that's connected via Bluetooth. And that's all very cool. But be aware that the VAD516 is the only 5 Series model that includes this new pad. The smaller TD516 comes with the older version, which is just as fine, but of course it doesn't have the throw-off. Now the hi-hat and ride are also digital pads, and even though they're from the previous generation, to me, they still belong to the best of their kind. Both deliver highly detailed triggering, including positional sensing. Now the hi-hat is missing a playable bell zone, and that's the same for the crashes. But I think that the great overall response is far more important. The ride, on the other hand, does have a very nice sound detection for the bell, allowing for very soft and nuanced playing. So this is all very nice. Now, as I said, all these digital pads are the same models used on the VAD716, and apart from the differences in size, that also applies for the remaining analog pads and the hardware set. By the way, the hardware includes 4 stands for toms, cymbals, and the module, but it does not include a snare stand, a hi-hat stand, and a bass drum pedal. Now, the big difference between the 7 Series and the 5 Series models is the sound module. And having the old TD27 module in mind, you can see right away that the new V51 is a big step up for the mid-range. This is basically a compact version of the V71 with a little less controls and less inputs and outputs. But it has all the sounds and all the editing functions inside. No limitations. The system is based on a combination of samples and some sort of modeling engine that allows you to pick different drum heads, different snare wires and stuff, and of course, all that will give you variations of the sound. It also includes a full mixing system with EQ, compression, reverb, and bus processing. There's tons of options to shape the sound, and having these features available in the 5 Series and even in the smaller 3 Series is a serious upgrade. Now, as I said, the number of ins and outs is reduced on the V51, but it's still enough for use on stage. You get a stereo main out plus 2 direct mono outputs. So that means you can put the kick and snare on their own channels, which is usually all you need even on bigger stages. The V51 also has fewer trigger inputs than the V71, which only matters if you want to expand the pad setup. Apart from that, you get the full connectivity of the V71, including the dual headphone output, audio and MIDI over USB, a 5-pin MIDI in-out, and an SD card slot to import samples and save recordings. As of making this video, Roland is working on an editor software for Mac and PC, and, which sounds very promising to me, on an app that lets you control the module from your phone or tablet. So, let's talk about the sounds. The V51 module includes all the sounds from the V71. The 70 factory kits and more than 1,000 individual instruments don't just share the same names, they also sound the same. And yes, it's what I call the typical Roland sound. You can hear that these are not pure samples, but that there's some sort of artificial modeling going on. And yet, even without a direct comparison, it's safe to say that the V51 sounds much better and much more natural than the old TD-27.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So these were some of the factory kits, but the V51 also gives you access to Roland Cloud, where you can buy and download new sounds. You can connect through the built-in Wi-Fi using your phone, or you can download the sounds on a computer and import them via SD card. When you buy the VAD516, you get 6 months of membership with free access to everything. Now, most of the V-Drum sounds in Roland Cloud are based on DW Soundworks, which is a virtual instrument for your computer, and they do sound more natural than the factory kits. Now, let's get a little nerdy now. For my review of the TD-716, which uses the V71 module, I recorded one of these DW kits from Roland Cloud via audio and MIDI at the same time. So I could compare the audio from the module with Toontrack Superior Drummer. Now for this video you're watching right now, I took that old MIDI file and played it back through the V51. So now we can compare the modules and see whether there are any differences in detail. And the short answer is no. The V51 delivers the exact same level of detail as the V71. If you hear small differences, that's only because level matching the individual instruments on the faders was a bit tricky. And here's my conclusion. The new generation of the 5 Series V-Drums brings major improvements. The V51 module doesn't just come with the same sounds and the same level of detail as the flagship V51 module, it also includes all the deep editing and mixing functions. On top of that, you get access to Roland Cloud for expanding the sound library. The biggest differences compared to the V71 are the fewer inputs and outputs, and for many players, that will be completely acceptable. Apart from the module and the slightly smaller pack configuration, the VAD516 is very close to the VAD716. So you get the same real wood toms and the same digital pads for snare, hi-hat and ride. And yes, you might miss dedicated bell zones on the crashes and the hi-hat, but that's also the case with the 7 Series. More importantly, the triggering is excellent across the board. Considering the almost insane price gap of more than 3,500 euros, the VAD516 seems like a very good deal. Of course, it still isn't cheap, so if you don't want to spend that much money, you can take a look at the TD516 or the smaller TD513, and of course, there's the new 3 Series too. And that's all I have for you today. If this video was helpful, please remember to like and subscribe, and feel free to drop us a comment. If you want to buy the kit, you can help our channel by using the affiliate link. Thanks for watching. Bye.